Welcome to another episode of Talk Smart with Pugh and McCart. That's Mr. Joe Pugh over there. I'm Andrew McCart. This is episode 24. Joe, how are you, sir?
Yes, losing count of the numbers now. We've been doing it for a while, but I'm very good. Yeah, a bit of a nightmare this morning. Lost my phone.
Let's just go back. You messaged me saying, "Can we do this early?" I said yes. Then you messaged me this morning when I was on my way to work. You said, "Andrew, I've lost my phone." Messaged me on Instagram, but then you said, "Andrew, my phone's been found. I'm waiting to collect it." And then you had the West Ham game. I don't know why you would put yourself through all that punishment to go to a West Ham game, Joe, but you did it. You lost your phone. So you've not had the best, Saturday, Sunday nights, have you?
Yeah, it weren't good. I think probably had a few too many drinks last night and just misplaced my phone. But that's it. Every experience is a learning experience, but we'll take away from that. But there was some seriously good boxing over the weekend. Now I managed to kind of catch up on it all. I know you was in Bolton on Friday night. I was in London, York Hall. And in between all of that, you had a massive show in Belfast where I think we'll start, mate.
Yeah, let's start. Let's start with you know what? We'll leave the main event till a wee bit after. We'll start from the four main sort of fights on the card. We'll start all the way down at McComb and Maxwell. Now, I know them very, very well. They both trained at the gym I'm at right now. They were stable mates. They were gym mates. They lived together. They were good friends. Trained by Danny Vaughan. And it's just one of them ones when I was watching it, I didn't enjoy it because I knew both guys so well. Do you know what I mean? It was an entertaining fight, but I couldn't really enjoy it because I like Sean, I like Sam, and it was just a hard watch for me. And that's just me not being the media guy. That's just me being a boxing fan.
Yeah.
Watching two guys I know very well have a fight. And obviously you can see in Sam Maxwell that maybe that was one too many fights after such a long amateur career and a tough pro career. Maybe that was one fight too many, but you can't take nothing away from Sean McComb. Footwork was phenomenal. 3 knockdowns. You can talk about the first 2 knockdowns. Were they knockdowns? Did he trip over the feet? Maybe yes, but the third one was definitely a knockdown. And Sean McComb goes on to bigger and better things. And Sam, I think his interview with Joe Pugh says this is the end, and he's retiring, which is a shame. I hope Sam has found or got what he wanted out of the sport, and he can go and enjoy his family, because I know he's got a young son. But yeah, that fight was just a weird one for me because I know both fighters so well. I don't know if you've been in that situation before where you knew two fighters very well and they're fighting each other. You just sit there and you just can't get amped for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 2 great guys as well, particularly Sam, who I spent a bit more time with. One of the nicest guys in boxing, honestly, such a nice guy. And what a lot of people don't know, that he did have such a long, hard amateur career. So, hopefully he can have his head held high, knowing that he attempted greatness on more than one occasion, and can take leap into retirement and
Say that again, Joe. You broke up a little bit. Say that again.
Sorry, mate. I was just saying that I hope he can kind of retire now, be happy in retirement, happy with everything he's achieved, and watch the sport, enjoy it, man.
Yeah, I agree.
You there, mate?
Yeah, I can hear you. You broke up a little bit there, but I got the gist of what you said there. And yeah, I totally agree with you. Obviously, when you see a fighter like Sam, who's probably one of the nicest, genuine guys you'll ever meet in boxing, I hope he goes away, stays involved in the sport. He's got a lot of knowledge to give with the amateur background he's got. And obviously British Commonwealth and WBO European, I think he held. So he's won major titles as a pro. So hopefully he stays in the game and goes on and passes that knowledge on to the kids. And yeah, but Sean McComb, he's in a 140-pound division, which is it's probably one of the most dangerous divisions at world level right now, because you've got guys like the Regis Prograis, the Devin Haney's, the Jack Catteralls, you've got the Barbosas, you've got the Teofimo Lopez's, and you've also got Subriel Mateus. I don't know if you've heard of Subriel Mateus. Have you? IBF world champion?
Yeah.
Mate, I was watching the thing and it came up, and like his last 5 fights, he's made his last 5 opponents quit on their stool. I mean, that guy's a monster. 20 wins, 20 knockouts. He lost against a Russian guy. I can't remember his name. but then he went and stopped him anyway in the rematch. It was just one of them. He's just an absolute monster. It doesn't get talked about as much in that 140 division. But Sean McComb is in that division full of monsters, and yeah, I hope he gets a big fight next, because he's had two good fights, two good wins last time. I think it was Sam Maxwell, and was it Casey Benjamin or not? Was it Casey Benjamin? No, I fought Casey Benjamin had a fight. I can't remember, but he fought Casey Benjamin and Sam Maxwell, which is two good fighters in the British level. Maybe he needs to go on to like that, maybe European, maybe a little bit off the fringe world level opponent, and see how far he can go.
Yeah, look, 140 division's so stacked at the minute, and it's going to be difficult kind of to get that bridge the gap between the Sam Maxwells of this world, and obviously no disrespect to Sam, and the Jack Carrolls of this world. You've got to bridge that gap, and it'll be interesting to see who he fights next, because I think that will tell a lot with Sean.
Dalton Smith, maybe. I don't know what Dalton Smith is.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's probably past that British-Irish level just now, so we'll wait and see. But if we do a quick one on the third fight on the bill, Kevin Ajarko and Troy Williamson. Again, two fighters I know very well. Two fighters are very much like. But I tell you what, this was a fight. I didn't think it was a split decision. Me personally, I was looking at the fight. I thought, you know what, Keevan's got this. The fact that I didn't think it was a split decision, I think maybe Keevan had it for maybe 4 or 5 rounds. And like I said to you before, Joe, I don't score fights unless people are asking me to score fights. I just go by the eye test. And what I saw from the eye test, Keevan won the fight quite handsomely. I'll say probably about 4 or 5 rounds up if you want to go there with it. But yeah, Troy Williamson, man, he's just a hard nut to crack. I don't think I've ever seen that man hurt. I've seen his head snap back.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not seen him hurt though. He gets his head snapped back, but then he throws a punch right after it. But Kevin, this was his acid test, and he passed it against a tough opponent in Troy Williamson. Had him hurt in the last round. Finished strong. Kevin now probably he's 14-0. He's probably in that maybe a little bit ahead of Sean McComb. But he should be pushing on for European honours, I think, right now. He should be on that EBU title, maybe a fringe world level. I know he's got that, is it a WBA version last night? So I don't know where he sits in their rankings. But I think he needs a good solid opponent at super welterweight, whether that be, I don't know, oh gosh. There's dangerous fighters in that division, but I don't know who's, like I said, Dennis Hogan's an Irish guy that he's in his division, but is Kevin past the Dennis Hogan and all Irish clash? Josh Kelly's there. James Metcalf is a gym mate of him, so he can't go against James Metcalf. JJ Metcalf. So it's one of them ones. Where do you go with Kevin Ajarko as well? I think he does need another step up test, and he does need to be on that sort of below that fringe world level opponent again. But a great win from Kevin Ajarko last night.
Yeah, going forward, I think with Kevin more, because everyone spoke about his talent for so long, and he's took that leap, moved up with Joe McNally. I think for him and where he's at now in his career, it could be, look, just chuck him in, sink or swim, and see how good he is, because he's been spoken a lot over the past 2 or 3 years about his talent. Probably been a little bit or inactive, or not as active as he would have wanted to have been when he signed with Matchroom. I know that some injuries got in the way there. He's opened up about some frustrations. But yeah, I think 2024 for Kevin will be the year where we know exactly where he's at.
Yeah, and I agree. And when Kevin's in full flow, Kevin is exciting to watch. When Kevin has got that bit between his teeth and he's enjoying himself in the ring, he is an enjoyable, fun fighter to watch, because he does these single shots, but he hurts you with the single shots, and he steps in. He's got good footwork, good lateral movement, can switch it. He did a little bit of that last night, switched to a southpaw position. But yeah, Kevin's definitely one to watch out for, and a little bit more momentum, a little bit more sort of more fights, and keep active, keep going, keep that train moving. Don't let that train stop at any stops. Just keep chugging away, keep going, keep fighting, keep doing it what you can. And so Kevin's one to watch. But then we go into the co-main event again. Another 2 fighters I know very, very well, but that was a fight. It was different than the McComb and Maxwell one, because Crocker, I think there was a lot of respect, and there was a lot of I don't know, a lot of love, for lack of a better word, from Sean McComb and Maxwell, because they knew each other so well. But Crocker and McKenna, they knew each other so well. 2 fighters I know very well, but them two had that needle and I enjoyed it. You seen that Crocker was like waving him on, come on, hands up, let's do it, this thing. And then every time he'd land a shot, McKenna would laugh or do the shades of Billy Joe Saunders when he missed and look away. I mean, it was a fun fight to watch. I think Tyrell McKenna, we spoke about this years ago, and he put up on his Instagram as well that he set into the sport to be the toughest man on Ireland, the hardest man on Ireland. And I think he is a hard man. He is a hard nut to crack. But and he probably has that title, the hardest man on Ireland. I don't think many men can stop him. Regis Prograis dropped him, and it was the cuts on his eye that the referee pulled the fight. That he never got concussively knocked out or anything like that, badly hurt. But Lewis Crocker, man, I think he should fight Harry Scarf for the British title. I think that's the fight that should be next for Lewis Crocker. I think he deserves it. Lewis Crocker's 17-18-0 now. So he needs a fight like a Harry Scarf. And I think a Harry Scarf is perfect for him for that British title. I don't know what the contractual, if Matchroom have any options on him or whatnot after that win last night, because I think Harry Scarf, is he with Frank? Is he signed to Frank?
I don't think he is. I know he done a deal before the Echo Esserman fight. As I understand, they didn't have options on him, or they haven't pursued the options yet. But as it stands, I think he's pretty much free, from what I know.
But I think Crocker and Harry Scarf is a great fight. And I think I can say this because Northern Ireland hasn't had a welterweight British champion in 20 years or something along them lines. So this Lewis Crocker will be the first man from Northern Ireland to hold that British title in 20 years, which will be an achievement in itself, as well as holding that British title. If that's the route he wants to go down. And then the main event, I mean, my wife doesn't normally stay up to watch fights, but she stayed up through the whole card. She might fall asleep sort of between the third fight and the co-main event. 9:30 mark, my wife would fall asleep, but she stayed up last night and watched the full fights with me and Mick Conlan and Jordan Gill, and she loved it. She loved the fights last night. And you know what? I enjoy being a fan sometimes, because you know what it's like on a fight night. You're backstage doing interviews, you miss the first 4 rounds of the fight coming ahead, you go backstage, you come back, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's an enjoyable job, don't get me wrong, we've got the best job on the planet, but you do miss a lot of fights when you're at shows. You don't just watch them. Do you know what I mean? So it was good watching all the fights last night. And Mick Corden, Jordan Gill, I'll let you kickstart this one, Joe.
I'll be honest, I'm so shocked. So shocked. Like, we talk about it like a really good fight for both guys to come back for, but I was pretty confident Mick Conlan was going to beat him. I thought Mick has that talent. We know Jordan has, because before I talk about Mick, I'll talk about Jordan. Like, it was only really 3-4 years ago when we was talking about Jordan Gill being a real prospect. Like, before that loss to Tinoco, I'm pretty sure he headlined an X-Gen in Peterborough for the European, and everyone was talking about him as a serious player, right? And then his career kind of went off piste a little bit, maybe stayed at the weight too much longer. Like, then everything that happened from the Guerfi knockout into the Kiko Martinez fight. And by the way, Kiko Martinez, like a world-class operator, a Spanish legend. So I think me, but including, I probably half overlooked Jordan. I think a lot of people were written him off. And I think he enjoyed that. From the interviews I've seen, from the way around Fight Week, he enjoyed kind of slipping under the radar, going to Belfast. The limelight is on Mick Conlan. Mick Conlan is talking about Lee Wood, Josh Warrington, massive stadium fights next year. And boy, did Jordan Gill spoil the party. Absolutely fantastic. I was shocked. I didn't watch it last night. I woke up this morning, I had to look on my laptop because the phone was gone. And I was like, oh my God, wow. And then the time I caught up with it all, watched it, I'm so glad for Jordan. And yeah, really did upset the party. And he's just announced himself on that stage now. He looked great at that weight. Yeah, he looked really big at the weight.
Yeah, he looked very, very good. And you mentioned there about the pressure. Sometimes going into a big fight like that, the pressure is, having no pressure on you is perfect. Do you know what I mean? 2-6, just, my daughter's running here and she's going to scream the house down in a second. Wait there, watch. My wife just walked under me.
Good.
Ready? Go. They're ducking in it.
No cameos today then. the wife and kids.
No camera, my
cameos.
wife, no chance. She will hate to be on camera. Yeah, I think going in that big fight like that, when you have no pressure, nobody's talking about you, nobody's giving you sort of like the betting odds to win the fight. You're just going in there, and you know what? You probably moved up in weights. You're a little bit happier when the way in. You're not killing yourself. You've got a smile on your face. You're drinking. You're eating a little bit more. You're not killing yourself to make weight. There's no pressure on you. You're both coming off a loss. Sometimes that with the no pressure on you whatsoever, that's when you get the best performances, because you're just going in there to enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? You've not got to please the crowds or sell the tickets or do anything like that. And I think for Mick, he's always had that pressure of selling out bringing these big fights back to Belfast. And I'll listen, again, two fighters I know very well, two fighters I love. And I thought the stoppage, when I was looking at it, I thought that Howard Foster done what Howard Foster does. He jumps in a little bit too quick. I'm going to be honest with you. But then, was the writing on the wall? Do you know what I mean? Would this have got worse for Mick, or would Mick have rallied on? And like he did after the knockdown, Mick rallied a little bit. It's one of the ones where we don't know. But I think that Howard Foster's, again, I'm not going against referees because they're in the ring. They see and hear shots more clear than what we see on the TV or ringside. They see into a fighter's eyes and whatever they've got left. And was the writing on the wall for Mick? Who knows? I don't know. And I'm just gutted for Mick because I've known him for so long, and I've always wanted him to be a world champion. And listen, I know he's had 3 losses and 3 knockout losses and that, but I don't know. It's just a tough one. But Jordan Gill, when you heard that story last night from his post-fight interview with, when you hear stories like that, you've got to root for somebody. Do you know what I mean? When you hear a story like that, when a fighter is so low, and he's I don't want to go back and talk about what he did. If you want to, then just go back and watch his post-fight interview. But it's just a sad story, and I hope he's in a good place. I hope he's in the right place, and I'm rooting for him now after hearing that, and hope he goes on and at least challenges for a world title. I think that's what he deserves. I think he's gave the sport some good fights. But what interested me as well, and I'll touch on that. In fact, you know what? I'll give me your thoughts on Jordan Gill and that whole story, the backstory as well, and I'll talk about something else in a minute.
Look, like, I think it was last December, coming off the back of the Kiko loss, I interviewed Jordan. I remember interviewing him in Leeds, and it's just amazing, and it's sad at the same time that we're talking to people. It don't even have to be an interview. You could just be talking to someone, you go, and they're going through that, and you don't know that. It's something to really think about, and it did touch a nerve, to be honest, listening to that, because we speak to these guys, we know them, and it's sad to see them struggling, but at the same time, so pleased for him. And yeah, the comeback story is fantastic, and now he will get a big fight. Might not be for a world title, but he will certainly get a big fight for a lot of money, and he certainly does deserve it, because he's changed. He changed such a lot. He was with Dave Caldwell for years. He's changing everything, and it was kind of a little bit of a roll of the dice, and it just shows that sometimes when you roll, it can come in, quids in, and it certainly did from Jordan Gill.
Well, if Mick Conlan, if he wants to not learn anything, but Jordan Gill's the perfect example. If you might have draws and concussive knockout losses on your record, and you can come back for it. Now, I want Mick to have a long break, right? Because he's been busy. He's been busy after the Lee Wood fight. Do you know what I mean? He's had, 4 or 5 fights after that Lee Wood fight. I want him to just have a nice long break with his family, enjoy life, get a little bit fat, man. Do you know what I mean? You're super featherweight now. You can afford to get a little bit of fat, enjoy your food, and have a little drink and that. But then I would like to see him come back and make an assault again. Like, I really do want Mick to become a world champion, and that's maybe just the Celt in me or the biased jock or whatever you want to say. But when you analyze that fight, right, you go off. So this is a perfect example of styles make fights, because Kareem Gurfey fought both fighters, right? Kareem Gurfey dropped Jordan Gill, had him hurt, and albeit went toe-to-toe with Jordan. And obviously, evidently, Jordan knocked him out in, the 5th or 6th round? I can't quite remember what it was. But then Mick Conlan blasted Gurfey out in less than a round. And if you analyse that fight and you watch them 2 fights, because they're only about a year and a bit apart, you'll think, yeah, Mick's got this. If you go by shared opponents. But again, this is a perfect example of styles make fights, where your headspace is at. Jordan Gill had no pressure whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? He was just in a more relaxed place, no pressure selling tickets, selling out, no talk of future fights in Lee Wood and Josh Warrington. There was none of that in the back of his mind. He was tunnel visioned. Mick Conlan, that is it. Do you know what I mean? And that's a perfect example for any fighter of just enjoy it. Whether it be, I know it's hard for us to say sitting here, but if you're just more of a, what's that old saying, Joe? A happy fighter's a what?
A good fighter. Happy fighter is a great fighter. And
yeah, dangerous fighter. But again, this is a perfect example of styles make fights, and I actually enjoyed it. I think Mick's tough as old boots because after that knockdown, he was hurt. And he was hurt a couple of times, and he just kept on swinging back and kept on throwing, trying to trade and trying to get back in there. So fair play to the fight as well. And listen, I'm happy for Jordan Gill, gutted for Mick Conlan, and listen, I've enjoyed boxing of late. They might get the stick of it, all the boxing being up in Saudi, and we're not seeing the big fights. But this year's been, I mean, the tail end of 2023 right now, Joe. We've had some fucking good fights, man.
No, yeah, but just to kind of finish up on Conlan and Gill, such a great advertisement for you don't need to kill yourself at the weight. Those extra few pounds matter. And he looked so good. He looked a different fighter. A completely different fighter. He looked bigger. He looked stronger. Punch resistance. Yeah, just perfect example. You don't need to kill yourself at weight. I know you want to get every single advantage. You want to be big at the weight. But sometimes the advantage is those extra a couple pounds, and they are only a couple of pounds. It's still going to be hard to make weight.
Yeah,
but it's still a camp. You don't just walk in because you moves up weight, and that's why I'm so looking forward to seeing Lee Wood when Lee Wood moves up. Like again, it could be a completely different fighter, and he's saying he only wants like 1 or 2 more fights. He might kind of learn to love the sport again at a different weight, make it easier, and we might even see him for another 2-3 years. So any fighter that's struggling, just make that jump if you need to. Don't be scared of it.
No, that's a great point. And sometimes I think there's a lot of emphasis now on this weight cuts, and we've seen it in the UFC that people are cutting themselves because there's a big gap between each weight division. I think it's a stone and a half and a stone and a stone. But I think I remember a fighter. It was actually Ricky Burns, maybe 12, 14 years ago. Can't quite remember. He said to me, excuse me, when he was a super featherweight, if you're not killing yourself to make weight, you're fighting in the wrong weight. And that's probably true to a certain extent. If you can make the weight comfortably and you're killing yourself comfortably, if that's probably, do you know what I mean? That you're not taking away all your water. I think there's been science showing that if you drain yourself and take all the water out of your body, your brain, not much liquid around your brain rattles about, and that's why your shot resistance isn't there, punch resistance isn't there. It's just one of them ones where I think now, kill yourself a little bit, just a little bit dry. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then that's perfect. Canelo's probably a perfect example of that. Canelo's probably should be a welterweight, super welterweight at best. He could probably get down there. He's not that big a man. And he spikes up at super middleweight. He doesn't. When does he ever look dry on them scales? He looks solid every single time. Do you know what I mean? And that's a great point you made there, Joe, that sometimes just maybe the weight above, if you're struggling to make, if you're really, really struggling the night before to make weight or the couple of days before, then just move up. Don't try and kill yourself for the next 2-3 fights and then you get them losses on your record. Do you know what I mean? I think maybe my friend Josh Taylor should have moved up 2 fights ago, to be honest with you. But then that's another story. We'll get on to that. But yeah, you were in York Hall, Frank Warren show on Friday night. Yep, and I was in Bolton Friday night, the Channel 5 show. We'll get touch on that. You give me your thoughts on that one, Joe.
One of the best York Hall shows I've been to in a while, to be honest, because the show was an arena show. It was the Copper Box. But Hamza Shiraz, the main event, got postponed, so they kept that same arena card and put it on at York Hall, albeit without the main event in Shiraz and Liam Williams. So some great talent. Moses the Talma. We spoke about him so many times. We don't even really need to speak about him anymore, but you know what you're getting with him. First round stoppage, bang. Royston Barney-Smith, such a one of them fighters you could just sit and watch all day long. So good. Really look forward to kind of seeing where he goes next year. I think he's 8-0 now, and he's going to be knocking on doors for titles by the end of next year because he signed with Frank before he'd even turned 18. I remember when they announced they'd signed Royston, and he's been slowly but surely grinding away in Ben Davison's gym. As mentioned now, he's learning a few tricks off AJ. Now he's in there. So, yeah, looking forward to Royston. Then Sam Noakes, good win. Carlos Perez kind of didn't really come to fight. He was holding a lot. He got knocked down a few times, but that's fine. Mark Chamberlain come through his hard, grueling fight against Ramlavs the week before. Sam Noakes now come through Carlos Perez, make that title for the British title, that fight for the British next year, because Gavin Gwynn, the current British champion at lightweight, just won the European. I'm so glad for Gavin. It was an absolutely mental fight week. You're looking around at the press conference, you're looking around at the weigh-in, and you're thinking, is he fighting him? This small, old man. I'm going to be completely honest. Emiliano Maselli, 47 years old. Mate, come on, Andy. You're not in there fighting for a European title, mate. So in terms of everything, like a 42-0, undefeated, this guy made his pro debut but before I was born. He's been pro for 20 years, never lost, never fought for a world title. I think he fought for an IBO, actually. He was brought over for Derry Matthews to beat 11 years ago because he was seen as old. 47, and you're looking at him on the scales. Gavin Gwynn, much bigger than him. Like, you're thinking, he ain't lasting a couple rounds here. I'm thinking, this is so bad. Looking at comments from the weigh-in, everyone's saying this is disgraceful. And you're thinking, oh, God. Like, and then first round, you're like, oh, my God, what has this man got in him? He just kept coming. He was moving. He was winning the fight. He was absolutely winning the fight. But Gavin Gwynn, in all credit to him, just slowly but surely just chipping away, breaking him down. And I know there was kind of complications with the arm, which led him to quit in between, I think, round 8 and 9. But, yeah, so pleased for Gavin. He's a Triple Crown. I think the only 11th man from Wales to become Triple Crown champion, British, Commonwealth and European. Such a great guy. And, yeah, he's the European champion now. So probably vacates that British and we get Sam Noakes versus Mark Chamberlain in the early parts of next year, which is going to be such a great fight.
I like these British title fights. Again, probably going to be another episode where I say when you've got two British fighters fighting for that British title, you know what you're in for. Do you know what I mean? You just have to sit back, relax, and enjoy the fight. Every 9 times out of 10, a British title fight against two Brits. Obviously, it has to be against two Brits because it's a British title fight. But you're going to get a scrap. Do you know what I mean? And I love it. But I was in Bolton on the Channel 5 show. You had Chloe Watson, first female European flyweight champion, unanimous decision against Justine Lalaland. I think the only real threat in her division right now in the UK is Maisie Rose. I like them two because they're action-packed fighters, the two of them, little pocket rockets, man. Them two getting on in the near future should be fun to watch. You had big Nathan Gorman back after a year out and his loss to Fabio Wardley. Shock defeat against Myronets, who was over here last time and beat Cash Ali in Edinburgh the last time on Channel 5. So, but Nathan was, what, 290 pounds? I think he was 75 pounds, crazy. 5 stone heavier than Myronets. And maybe it took its toll on Nathan because he was heavy, but maybe that was a game plan going in there because he was a small man. Maybe it was the game plan to rough him up and tire him out, but I just came up short. And then he had a great fight against Moorcroft and Rennie. Matthew Rennie from the Isle of Man, probably the only boxer from the Isle of Man right now.
You don't hear that much.
You don't hear that much at all. So, and he got the win, Matthew Rennie. So it was a good little card. And going down, you had debuts for like Dan Toward from the Northeast, from that Berkeley boxing gym. Dan Toward looks good. His opponent weighed in 9 pounds heavier than him. Took a little bit off. He looks way smaller than this guy that he fought, but he ended up stopping him in the second round. Shot selection was pinpoint accuracy like a sniper. Southpaw backhand was phenomenal. Then you had the debut for another guy called Nelson Birchall, who's
heard good things. Really good things about Nelson.
I said to him as well. I'm sure I heard that he fought Giorgio Fisioli as well in the amateurs. And it was a split decision, and he's a southpaw as well. And he done very, very well. Is one to watch out for. He's confident, man. He's got the gift of the gab. He's basically saying, when I mentioned that Giorgio Fisioli and all these young guns coming through, he said he's going to be the best of them all. I think that when you hear him speak, he actually means it. Do you know what I mean? He wants to show everybody that he means business. And then we had, who else did we have? We had Abdul Khan, Amir Khan's cousin. Again, 4-rounder. He's been doing 8-rounders, but he's dropped to a 4-rounder to get out before the new year. And action-packed 4 rounds. Didn't get the stoppage, but I tell you what, if it was an 8-round fight, he would have got the stoppage. He was pinging this guy left, right, and centre. And then you had, obviously, I think it was Cody Smith, who was one of Wasserman's sort of prospects. He got a draw, but he got dropped. He got a point deduction in a 6-round fight, and yeah, tough one for Cody. But listen, it was a good show all in all. I think Channel 5, that little Bolton arena that's in the Bolton Stadium, is a lovely little. It's a little compact. There's not a bad seat in the house. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very compact, like a little cauldron of noise, and you can hear all the fans sing, and it's a good little arena. That I like it. 1,400 people. I enjoy it in there.
I've never actually been there, but I can, from telly and from what I've seen of it, I can imagine it being the Northern York Hall. Something like that.
With the York Hall, you've got the balcony. You do have the balcony.
Yeah.
But only fans don't go up there. That's more the media, and that's where the changing rooms are. Do you know what I mean? You've got the balcony bit, but they're open planned. You've got the home fighters on that side, the away fighters on that side, and then there's a walkway. I said it was a good little card. I enjoyed my time down there. But yeah, listen, boxing just keeps on coming, keeps on flowing. We've got a busy 3 weeks leading up to Christmas coming up, but next week, we'll just touch on it quickly, Joe, is Devin Haney, Regis Prograis. I cannot wait for this one. Cannot wait for this. It's a tasty, tasty number. 14,000 people sell out at the, what's it called? The Chase Arena, I think it's called, or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called.
The Chase.
Chase, yeah. 14,000 sellout, man. This one's going to be a cracker. I can't wait for this.
Another example of the perfect time to move up. Devin Haney was struggling for a long time. He became undisputed. He achieved that. And rather than defending it, he's thinking, it's now time. Move up. Become a world champion at 140. And he's a tough opponent. You talk about winning world title fights. They don't come much bigger than this. Regis Prograis, one of my favourite fighters. Like,
mine too.
Still to this day, before I even worked in boxing, one of the best fights I've ever seen live was Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograis. Love him, really. Just cannot wait for this fight. I could go either way. Really interesting to see those extra £5. Are they going to make that much of a difference for Devin Haney? Because based on previous performances, he's been just outstanding. I know it's a really close fight with Vasily Lomachenko, but at the end of the day, it's Lomachenko. Right? So, again, Regis Prograis and Devin Haney, cannot wait for that. And don't forget, a very strange one, a Sunday night. Sunday night in Bournemouth, Chris Billups-Smith makes his first defence of that WBO cruiserweight title against Masternak, who is a live opponent. I think a few people might be sleeping on Masternak, because it's going to be a good tear up on Sunday night. Yeah,
and I love Sunday night boxing. No, I mean, when there's nothing on, we'll probably be doing a podcast watching the boxing at the same time next week. Unless you don't know you're in Bournemouth, in fact, that you're not.
I'm in there. We'll, from the arena, mate. We'll do the podcast from the arena.
Yeah, but that'll be a show and a half, man. But listen, make sure you don't lose your phone. Keep it charged as well.
I will do, mate. I will do. Don't worry. Phone might have to get a little magnet from my pocket next time I go out. So don't leave it.
I see men wearing handbags nowadays. Do you know what I mean?
You catch anyone with them in the Celtic stands, would you, mate? You wouldn't catch any of them.
Mate, no chance. You've got pockets. Put a wallet and a phone and keys in your pockets, man. That's it. Yeah, listen. Absolutely enjoyed my time with you again, Joe. Looking forward to next week. We'll probably talk. We've got the Belfast show that you said, and the Devin Haney and the Regis Prograis fight to look forward to and discuss. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, enjoy your Sunday, mate. I don't know what you've got planned. Well, what's left of it, but yeah, enjoy it.
Thank you very much, mate. You too, likewise. And as ever, everyone, thank you for watching, and or listening. And you can find us at all the streaming platforms. Talk Smart, Pugh and McCart on IFL TV. One-stop shop for all the best boxing content. I'll see you next week, mate.
See you next week, Joe.